Good morning. My name is Judith Sandel. I'm the Executive Director of the Children's Law Center and a D.C. resident. I will use my 3 minutes to propose $1.8 million of budget cuts, identify $400,000 in missing revenue, and then ask you to take these dollars to restore funding to 3 programs which will not only save the district money in 2010, but they are proven ways to keep children safe and out of foster care. I hope you already have my written testimony. I have many more details there. In passing the FY10 budget, the Council decided not to renew contracts for paid mentoring. These contracts expire January 30, 2010. We recommend that the Council end these contracts 4 months earlier as you can legally on October 1st, saving the district $800,000. The Mayor's proposal budgets $1.31 million for volunteer mentoring, but in FY09, CFSA spent only $24,000 on it. This is not the time to invest over $1 million in the capacity of a private agency to potentially recruit and train volunteer mentors. We urge the Council to reduce volunteer mentoring to no more than $300,000, saving $1 million. On the revenue side, there is now a federal reimbursement for guardianship subsidies, which are currently paid with local dollars. CFSA's budget reflects $0 in revenue, although CFSA officials have estimated more than $420,000 in federal revenues for 2010. These 2 cuts and the guardianship revenue total more than $2.2 million. This savings should be spent on restoring funding to programs that keep children safe, out of foster care, and with their families, specifically the Rapid Housing Program and the Grandparent Caregiver Program, and the Council should direct any additional funds to restoring TANF benefits. Each program has a proven track record of keeping children out of foster care, saving the district money, and saving children the extreme trauma of being removed from their families. Restoring $490,000 to Rapid Housing will save CFSA upwards of $2 million in FY 2010 alone by keeping more than 80 children out of foster care. Restoring funds to the Grandparent Caregiver Programs will take 190 children off the waiting list for this program, which is proven to reduce entry into foster care. Lastly, in order to keep children out of foster care, some of the savings from CFSA should be used to avoid the Mayor's drastic proposal to institute full family sanctions against families receiving TANF funds. The cuts proposed by the Mayor will hurt children. There can be no honest debate about it. Further cuts to CFSA and to the safety net programs that support low-income families will endanger lives. I urge the Council to do 2 things. First, do not look for additional cuts, but instead support the Mayor's plan to use fund balance and other one-time resources to minimize the need for budget cuts in FY10. Second, I implore the Council to look at the impact of cuts on children and families rather than looking at whether a specific agency has taken its fair share of cuts or a particular line item is considered an enhancement. For example, cutting $490,000 from Rapid Housing will result in approximately 127 children becoming homeless or entering foster care. Although the cut is small in dollars, the impact is great on families. There should be no sacred cows in this budget round. Look hard at the real impacts of budget cuts on the safety and health of D.C. residents. And whenever possible, cut costs that will just inconvenience residents and visitors rather than those which will put children on the street, in foster care, and in the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandalo. Thank you for your recommendations of areas to look at. I am struck by the fact that I think you basically told us to put off until tomorrow what we otherwise might not want to do today, but we probably need to do today with respect to using, reserves and fund balance and whatnot. Have you seen the CFO's projection that we could be facing an $800 million deficit in fiscal year 11 if we follow the course that we're on now?
I have.
What will we do?
I think there are 2 things. We could go to Congress to change the law.
By the way, we even discussed that with the bond rating agencies, and they really responded to that very negatively. And I don't think that's an option that we have available to us. I think this is the wrong time to do that. You're talking about, so in terms of the payback of the contingency?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be paid back over a couple of years, 50% and then the other 50%. But even still, that's not a huge portion of what we're talking about. Of the $800 million, how much is that, $125 million? What would we do about the rest of the problem that we would have laid off until 2011? It would be devastating at that stage.
I would urge you to let Mr. Lazier answer that question, who's much more of an expert than I am.
Well, you testified on this, so I'm asking you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I would. I mean, I stand by my answer.
By the way, also recommended that we go to Congress and change the law, which I don't think is an option.
Mr. Baumann gave several examples. I am sure that we could sit down with your office and identify cuts in many agencies.
Well, if
that
you're
could
welcome
offset.
to do that. We vote on it next Friday. I would welcome that, and I mean that quite sincerely, that if you got additional, and you have some in your testimony, which I appreciate.
We do, and I understand there's going to be a meeting of the council, which I hope you will invite community members to participate in. I believe we could actually provide you some of that information as the
Well,
council
this is
is
why we're
debating
having
it.
a hearing today. Everybody in the community who wished to testify was invited today to participate, so that was the purpose of today's meeting. The meeting of the members is really to try to figure out where we are. We can't have another hearing. That's the purpose of today's hearing. But anyway, I welcome you to submit any additional recommendations that you might have. Mr. Fuss,